Welcome back to another video, everyone. My name is Anthony with Überleben, and today we are taking a look at the Fire Kit. The Fire Kit is such a cool product because, as you can tell, this is about the size of an Altoids tin, but this kit packs quite the punch when it comes to fire making materials. Literally everything, even this rubber band, is built for fire making. So I cannot wait to show you all through that as we build some fires. And also, speaking of building some fires, if you would just look at it out here, it is gorgeous, but it is also freezing. So I am ready to warm these hands up. So let's go ahead. Let's dig into the contents of this and check out what it can do. So starting with the outside of the Fire Kit, we have this big Ranger band holding the lid together. Ranger bands come in handy for so many different things, whether you're holding gear onto knife sheaths or making repairs with it. But in today's video, I'm going to show you all how to use this for fire extending, because this right here is a great wet weather tinder. And as you can tell, we definitely have the moisture out here that we're going to be battling with. So any little bit of help is going to come in handy. Next up is the tin itself. So this is a great tin. This is also a fantastic option if you find some natural materials or you have some 100% cotton. You can throw those materials into this tin right here, throw this in a fire. No need to poke a hole or anything. It's got enough of a vent, and you can make char, which is a very nice thing, which accepts a spark very easy from the supplied ferro rod. And moving into the contents, let's go ahead and take a look at that ferro rod. So this right here is basically one of our hexa rods just shrank down. So this is a really cool rod. You've got the flat sides or you've got the sharp sides so that you can easily scrape wherever you choose. And speaking of scraping that ferro rod, you have one of the new ambi strikers right here. And now we are moving into our tinder options. So this right here is the tinder wick and bellow. This material right here is highly flammable, so it's definitely going to take a spark from our ferro rod, which we'll get into here in just a moment. And last but certainly not least, especially on a wet day like this, is the tinder teepee. I cannot wait to show you all how to assemble this and use it. And speaking of using it, let's go ahead, let's get this fire going, because it's cold and I'm ready to warm up and show you all what this can do. So first things first, you definitely need to go ahead and collect all of your materials. This will be enough to get our fire going, but we will need some bigger materials. And definitely if you're using this for an overnight fire, you're going to need a pretty healthy stack of firewood with some large diameter logs. But basically what we are looking for here is anything from like pencil lead thick to #2 pencil thick, and then thumb thickness. That is basically your smalls, your mediums, and your larges, and that will get this fire established. Now that we've got some of our firewood collected, we need to make sure the area that we're going to build this fire in is fully clear of leaves, especially in the wet weather like this. Leaves are going to hold on to just a ton of moisture, and the ground is actually going to be drier. You might not think that, but if you go ahead and clear these leaves out, your fire is going to have a lot better chance of surviving here on just the dirt. And with that said, that brings me to the moment I've definitely been waiting for. Let's get this fire built and let's warm up. While you're out here, don't get too caught up in the way that your fire lay looks. Honestly, this is probably going to be the ugliest fire lay you've ever seen, but it is absolutely effective in these conditions. And you know, pretty fire lays are awesome for product photography. Me as a product photographer, I love building pretty fires for photos, but out here, this is exactly what I do when I need a fire and I need it fast. All right, now that we've got our base prepared, we are going to put the tinder teepee in here, and this will all make sense here in just a moment. And next up, I'm gonna just go ahead and have a pile of these sticks right here ready, so that whenever we light this with our ferro rod and our tinder wick and bellow, we will be able to pull those and put them right on top. And then that fire is gonna start to establish itself. And here off camera, we will pull some of these materials in. Let's dig into our fire kit, and we're gonna get the striker, the ferro rod, and the tinder wick and bellow for this next part. All right, so I've got all of my fire making tools ready right here, and then I've got my tin open. As soon as I light the tinder teepee down here, I'm just gonna go ahead and place these items back in here. I'm gonna put the lid on it, and then I'm gonna place this back in my pocket. You definitely do not want to lose your tools while you're out here, so don't feel like you're in a rush. This will burn for quite a while. You have plenty of time. Just go ahead and make sure your tools are where you need them. So to get you started with your tinder wick and bellow, you're gonna need to fray these ends out. I like to kind of start about like that right there, fluff the ends up, and that is going to accept a spark like nobody's business. That is going to be fantastic. Next up, go ahead and grab your striker. This right here is the area for your thumb, and also there's a nice little place for your index finger back in here as well. And then whichever side of the ferro rod you want to hold, go ahead and grab a hold of it, and then you strike at about a 45-degree angle. So right like this right here, you will strike at that angle right there. Also, as you can tell, this is a brand new fire kit. You're seeing silver right here, you're seeing black. This black coating is to preserve the ferro rod whenever it's being stored. You do have to go ahead and get that black coating off. So don't be alarmed if you start striking it and sparks don't fly immediately. It's just you need to get that coating off. So you can decide to strike your ferro rod a million different ways, but something that I really like about this combo right here is the ferro rod is hexagonal, as well as the bellow right here. And then we've got our little wick hanging out right here. So what I like to do is I go ahead and I grab my striker, and then I position this wick out just a little ways, and I give it a strike right there. All right, so now that we've got our wick lit, let's go ahead and give that a little bit more space. We'll put it here under the tinder teepee, and we'll let that do its work. And we will also, since it is wet weather, go ahead and use our Ranger band and let that act as another fire extender for us. And let's go ahead and bring some of our sticks over now. We'll start catching these on fire as well. And there is a mix of some small ones. There is also a mix of slightly larger ones. So we'll just go ahead and we'll catch them all at the same time. And so basically what I am doing with these sticks right now is I'm just controlling how much oxygen is going into this fire. We'll go ahead, we'll take our wick and bellow out. We'll put that back in our tin, and then we will start working on this fire a little bit more. So as you can tell, the tinder teepee mixed with that Ranger band has done an absolutely fantastic job. It is a little bit touchy here today trying to get this fire going because it is super wet. So what I would recommend on a day like today, you see that I'm using a lot of those smalls right up in here. I would absolutely recommend having a huge pile of the smalls because that is what's gonna catch the easiest. And right here, we are just gonna keep on feeding this fire with a bunch of smalls to get those flames going and get it burning really hot. And then we will start adding some of these bigger pieces right here. And I always say, once you get a stick burning that is about the width of your thumb, you can pretty much walk away and gather more, or you can get into your bag if you need to get a few things out, but definitely don't walk away until you get to that stage. All right, so there we have it. That is the Überleben fire kit and a quick crash course on how to use it out here in the snow to build a nice fire. And speaking of nice fire, I'm gonna get back over there and I'm gonna warm up. But if you wanna go ahead and warm things up, head over to überleben.co, check out our fire starters, check out the fire kit, and definitely pick some up for your next adventure.